back, and here I am ready to do the masking fluid on this new large full sheet painting. The photograph that I've printed out that I'm going to try to replicate for color and feel. I love the rainbow effect of the shadows and highlights on the white petals of this lily. And I've copied it down onto my paper with carbon or graphite paper. And now I just want to be sure that I can protect some of these white stems, lighter colored stems, while I paint the background of the petals very loosely. So I'm going to apply masking fluid to these, let's see, 6 pistils and the stamens, and that'll give me freer range while I develop the background and protect those to paint over later. I won't have to be quite as careful. So I've got my masking fluid. I like to pour a little bit into a container so I can keep the main bottle from drying up while I'm using it. I'm just going to turn it upside down. You don't want to shake this. I'm just wanting to distribute some of the yellow tint, which is how you can tell what parts of your painting have masking fluid on it. Here's my 3 brushes that I just prepared. And there's a bigger one in case the painting needed some bigger spaces, but I didn't, this one won't, so I didn't soak that one up. This is the rubber cement pickup for removing the masking fluid once you're ready to paint those light protected areas. So I'm gonna pour some of this. It's kind of hard to open. There we go. Into the container and put the lid back on, tighten it down. These I like to store in a plastic bag so that no air can get in. It's expensive stuff and it'll dry up easily. I won't need to put masking on these dark areas because they're going to be so much darker than the background that I could do it just to define where they are, but it wouldn't be as necessary. Sometimes the pencil marks get washed away while you're painting over them, so the masking can kind of help define where you are on it. So I'm going to go with my my bigger brush first, and sometimes I can just do the whole thing with this big one, and you just paint it on. Just be careful with the edges. You want to use plenty of fluid so you don't find gaps in it. I think I am going to paint over the dark ones. There's lots of little ins and outs, and if that gets washed away, it'll just be a pain to have to copy them down again. So this allows me to move freely in that space. And these are sort of organic shapes, so there's not a critical element to getting those outlines just absolutely correct. And then the next one. So I'm really just protecting the areas that need to stay lighter because there's lots of shadows where these all are centered. Put lots of it on. I want it to be thick enough that there won't be any gaps. little drop there, I'll want to pick that up before I start painting the background. You can use this masking fluid with a toothbrush and really splatter it around for areas that you might want to have a very random spray pattern. And this painting doesn't really need that, at least not with masking fluid. So these pencil lines that are within the masked area will disappear, and I'll have to redraw them. When you peel off the mask, any pencil marks underneath will come off. So if it's a really busy area, you just want to paint the outside line of the masking area. And pay attention to the edge mostly, because that's going to be a hard edge. And when you get into the painting part, you might need to soften that just to make it less harsh. So once the whole background is done, I'll be able to develop the texture of this area that's kind of yellow. It will be a yellow. But I'll want to fully develop as much as I can the area behind it. We'll start at the top of this one while I'm over here. See, I'm just sort of dipping in and out of this cup. You can do it directly out of the bottle, but I think the more airtime it gets into that, it'll tend to make it want to dry up, and then you'll have a big blob at the end. So this little line here will disappear when I pull off the masking fluid. So this is a fairly simple demonstration of, these shapes are very simple. But since the background is sort of the lively part of the painting, I want to just protect them and have a lot more freedom in building those colors without having to be careful about what I'm overlapping. See a little edge there. And one more. Usually you want to start with something that you're not going to drag your hand through. I should have started over here, and to avoid my sleeve hitting this one down here. But I will be careful. These little areas, I could have used a smaller brush, but since they aren't super critical, I'm just going ahead and being kind of loose about it. So I traced this drawing down off of an enlarged black and white photo of this, which I had developed at Kinko's. And then I use tracing paper so I could see where I'd marked it, and then I'd be able to go back and layer it on again if I needed to. So I'm also gonna, in this drawing, there's a nice sharp edge there that's white. I think I'm gonna define that with the masking fluid. I can soften up the inside edge. With a scrubber brush, if I don't like how harsh that is. wider. And in here there's a few other really sharper highlights I might want to protect. You're kind of protecting the light areas so that they don't get too much paint on them, which will be hard to eliminate. So that one, and this one. I want to hold on to the light. Same thing over here. And this one. And whoops, I've got my photo dragging into the, and I think I have one more center stamen, I think it is. So this brush for this painting seems to be enough. Let me see. This kind of blends in closely with the other. Let's see if there are any other things I need to protect. I've got a couple other little drips I'll be wanting to get rid of. I'm going to protect this edge of this petal. Because that's a nice light. This petal as well. Oh wait, that's a shadow. Here's the some of the other highlights I'll just pull out while I'm painting it. This one here, I think I want to keep that sharp on the edge. And that should do it, even though this is so much light, I don't think I need to do that anymore. So as soon as I'm done, I want to return the leftover masking fluid to the bottle. Got to press down hard on this. And I want to run back quickly, if I don't have a bottle of water, to clean off my brush. But before I do, I'm just going to pull off these little drops. So this is how the rubber cement pickup works. It just rolls over these mistakes. Usually wait till it's dry to use this. And I'm going to want to let this completely dry before I can start adding any watercolor. Let's see if I got my edge okay. All right, so there's masking fluid. Bye.